Hello and welcome to this third tutorial in this mini-series on the work under one loop only in crochet. Today we're going to have a look at the half double crochet in US terminology, and we need to look at it carefully indeed because this stitch causes quite some confusion when it comes to the loops and under which one we are going to work. Here we have a swatch in half double crochet under one loop only, and it looks like we can see both loops very easily in the previous row. We have these V's that we are used to look for when working under one loop only. Only this is not the real loops of the stitch, and especially this one is not a loop at the top of the stitch. So to see the top of the stitch, we're going to do just as we usually do. We're going to pivot it towards us, and here we can see the two loops that are really at the top of the stitch. So this is the front loop and this is the back loop. So I'm going to work this swatch, and I am working this swatch in half double crochet through the back loop only. So I prepare my half double crochet, and then I have to turn the work towards me to insert my hook under the back loop only. I pull up a loop, and then I yarn over and pull through all three loops to complete this half double crochet. And what we can see at the surface of this swatch is that these two loops that we saw when we started working in the row, they are still visible when we have worked the stitches, because, well, our real back loop is here on the back side of the fabric, if I may say so. Now let's have a look at a swatch worked in the front loop only, still half double crochet. So here I am again with this previous row and this illusion of seeing both loops in the previous row, in the stitches in the previous row. Sorry, this is exactly the same. If I pivot my work towards me, I tilt it a bit towards me, I can see the true loops of the top of the stitch here. And to work into the front loop, I'm going to work in this loop. So now I can hold my work normally in my hands. I prepare my double crochet, half double crochet, sorry, and I insert my hook under this front loop only. Yarn over and pull through all stitches. So if we have a look at what this looks like at the surface of the fabric that we are making, we have these discrete single horizontal lines running over the fabric. So we don't see the V anymore, because all that is left is this specific loop, which is not part of the top of the stitch, at the surface of the fabric. But of course, we can use this loop too. We can call it the third loop of the half double crochet, and I'm going to show you how we work into this loop. So this is my first swatch, where I'm going to work into this, I don't want to call it the fake loop. This loop sitting here, very visible under what is actually the front loop, is the result of the yarn over that we are making at the beginning of our half double crochet. So to work under this loop, I simply insert my hook like this through the loop that's sitting there on the surface of the fabric. I pull up the yarn, I yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. As you can see here in the row I'm actually working on, there are no loops visible on this side of the work, which is normal because I worked in the visible loop that is the closest to me. And the actual top of the stitch moves backward and it's visible on the back side of the fabric. So after having seen these 3 ways that we can work the half double crochet, still use terminology, and the 1 loop only, let's have a look at the results. I'm going to start with the swatch where I've worked under the front loop only, noting that there have been some mistake down here. So let's just have a look at the top of the swatch. So this is half double crochet under 1 loop only, under the front loop to be precise. We have this textured pattern, which is a bit like a train track running horizontally over the fabric, and this is a very neat little stitch. I find it's soft and drapey enough and also solid enough to work as a great stitch for garment patterns. And when I started out as a crochet designer, I designed lots of garment and I used this stitch pattern very frequently. It's very, let's say, it's not gender specific at all. So you can use this for many people independently of if they identify as female or male or something else. It's just a very neat little stitch and very, very useful. If instead of inserting our hook under the front loop, we insert it under the back loop, we get this. So this is something very, very stretchy, stretches out, and at least in this type of wool yarn, it gets back to its shape again. Now, the most stretch here is in this way. In this is vertically. So this is a stitch that you can use tilted or pivoted over like this at the bottom of a hat or at the bottom of fingerless mittens or gloves or anything like that. It looks deceptively much like knitted ribbing, and I have already heard people who don't want to believe me when I say that the mittens I show in my booth at different shows are completely worked in crochet. So here we have these these V's that are aligned on the fabric surface that looks a bit like knitted stitches. What you can perhaps see also in the video is that this is a very textured fabric. It has a lot of squish and a lot of elasticity. So that was the back loop. And now let's look at the swatch, the result of working into this little third loop, that the one that can lead us astray if we don't pay attention to the construction of the half double crochet, but that we can also use. So this is the last row I worked. So as you can see, there is no trace of any loops at the surface of the fabric because I worked through this third loop and the top of the stitch has tilted back to the back of the fabric. So as you can see here, we also have these neat little V's at the surface of the fabric. Worked this way The result is not as stretchy. It's harder to use as a functional ribbing, sorry. But as you can see, if we put them side by side, this is a very neatly textured stitch pattern, and works really well for decorative purposes, either turn like this or positioned this way. So these are my swatches of half double crochet under one loop only. You can also find the previous tutorials on this channel, where I show how to work under one loop only in double crochet and in single crochet. This video is a complement to my monthly tutorial. To receive the monthly tutorial in your inbox, you can subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find the link in the description below the video. Of course, if you enjoy the content, please feel free to click the thumbs up. This helps other people discover the video. And if you want to learn more and follow me here on YouTube, you can subscribe to my channel and click the little bell to be notified every time I put up a new video. I hope you have lots of fun crocheting into these different loops. Thank you very much.